Alright everyone, hello and welcome to episode 6 of Watching Walford, an EastEnders podcast where we talk about and review all of the EastEnders episodes every week. Likewise, welcome back to the Watching Walford channel, which is more than just one podcast, as we aim to make documentaries on characters, retell stories from yesteryears, and delve into some of the story out of the show's past. And, you know, maybe eventually I'll use my dumb soap brain to talk about literally anything else I'm watching soap-wise at the time. Currently watching through a lot of Hollyoaks 2015, which is keeping my brain sane. Favorite storyline Hollyoaks 2015? A very gay man called Steve has suddenly got into a relationship with Sinead because they drunkenly had sex, which led to a baby, and Sinead was scared that Steve wasn't going to stick with her. And now they're together, and he is definitely not gay. He's wonderfully gay. I am your host, Ash, and I'm joined by Piggy. How's it going, Piggy?
Hello, the seal. You know, we have to keep that trademark alive. I'll always introduce you as the seal, you know.
Contractually obliged to say it twice an episode.
Yeah, contractually obligated. Reason is if you get a Patreon, if you get big enough, or you know, we release merchandise. You know, we'll have to have the pig and the seal on it.
Indeed.
Hopefully, then an EastEnders actor will notice us and put us on the TV show.
Oh God, I'd be like a deer in headlights on the show. It'd be awful.
Two autistic people walking to the Queen clip. What could go wrong?
Oh, can I get a pint? What do you want? What do you have? Can we go back to pandemic times? There's too many people in here.
You're not my mother. Yes, I am.
A decent week.
Yeah, I couldn't watch Friday's episode for people who were confused. RTE for some reason didn't. They thought Fair City would be more important than EastEnders. There's that instead. And I can't swear in the first 2 minutes, but when you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you get what you get what I mean.
Indeed.
Fair City is not good. I recommend you watch one episode, Ash. I recommend it.
Alright.
The acting's worse, I should say, on Fair City.
And with all that aside, it's time to start the show. We're going to be reviewing week 6 of 2023. All the episodes going from the 6th of February 2023 to the 10th of February 2023. We open up the week with Lola and Jay walking out of the house. Jay's excited about the holiday in France and talks about the extra croissants. And we see Lola get a phone call off the school, and they inform her that a family member may have threatened to batter the piss out of Maisie.
And that's how I wrote it.
Yeah, indeed. I didn't want to take away from it. I had to keep most of it in.
But it's true.
It is true.
Who why would you rat on Emma about to beat the absolute piss out of her 8-year-old?
Yeah. Then we see Suki's husband Nish nearly get knocked down, but he gets back up again, and Phil tells him, "Have you heard of the Green Cross Code?" Yeah, Phil was the one who kind of like revved the engine at him, made him slightly scared, and he then offered Kat a ride. What were you saying?
What? Wait, so in England is it called the Green Cross Code?
I believe so.
Because in Ireland it's called the Safe Cross Code.
I'm sure they're different things though. Like same idea, but probably different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I next wrote Feud Watch. Obviously, last week we talked about it in the I believe I've nicknamed the spoiler section "Talk of the Square." In that, the Mitchells and the Panastars. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty trying time this year for both of them. They are going to be at war.
War games.
We then see Zach finally taking his medication. It takes him a second to do it, but he's actually taking medication now, so there shouldn't be any spreading of any HRV on the square. It should be slowly getting under wraps. About damn time. And yeah, Whitney's also doing research about the disease that, I think it's a syndrome that the doctors are, well, basically, it's a thing called omphalocele. There we are, I think that's what it's called. I read it properly, look at me go. It's essentially, last week they described it as a disease where the child's organs may develop outside the body. But essentially this week is them trying to figure out what it actually is and if it could lead to more. And obviously, once again, a couple weeks ago in the Talk of the Square, we mentioned that they were going to be diagnosed with Edwards syndrome, which is the baby will have I think it's like a heart defect, and it will develop slightly differently than other babies. Like the head would be slightly smaller, the heart may struggle, there could be some complications, you know. Mm-hmm. And essentially, Zach walks in and goes, "We should go see the doctors," and Whitney's like, Nah, I can't. We then see Lola in the cafe interrogating Sam like, "Listen, alright, you. They said it was a blonde in a camel coat. Who else could this possibly be? You're the child intimidator, you. It's you." And Sam's like, "Yeah, piss off, like, not me." Yeah, I didn't even know she was being bullied. Why would it be me?
Only Emma can threaten a child.
Yeah, only Emma gets the right to threaten a child.
I'd love if it was. I hope if we get Colin EastEnders, we can threaten a child.
Well, I'm not going to be caught saying that personally, but if you want to state your claim to that, right, you can.
Yeah, I will. Oh, I was having a look through my purse. All I found was 5 cents. I'm piss poor. I won't buy me a coffee.
Then you go up to the school ground. You're like, "Hey, give me your lunch money, kid. I need a coffee."
Give me the cash, and no one gets hurt. I want to see the Titanic re-release in cinemas.
Right. But yeah, essentially, whilst this goes down, Bernie's just kind of like, is that one coffee? 2 coffees? 3 coffees? Just, you know, some...
It's old slapstick humour.
I don't know if I describe it as slapstick. I think there's a better term for it, but yeah, it's just the kind of like, it's that she's the one like serious person where everything around is chaos type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, back at Whitney's house, they actually talk about the baby's disease and they figure out how they can help out. Zach manages to comfort her, and they actually go to like have the appointment and actually figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Jed and Sonia are talking, and Reese is jealous. This is all going down in the cafe, and Kat says, "Hey, I bet Reese can make a great casserole." And then he says, "Not for those who have bongos."
Reese is just a different breed of cow. Like Ricky Butcher. Do you know, like they say, Jesus died for our sins? Ricky Butcher died for our sins, so Reese could walk.
Ricky Butcher crawled so Reese could swim.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he is really good. That's not even half of it this week. Gets better.
I really hope we do in the future get a Reese and Ricky Butcher off. Oh. Because my heart would explode.
But yeah, and essentially wrote Jed's role this week is to just wind up Reese and eventually, in the end, reunite Sonia and Reese. So the actual, Reese moves in. Sonia's like, yo, we should be together. And Reese is like, yes, pretty much. And then Nish is kind of getting some information, kind of figuring out. He's at the burger van and essentially pays for Karen and Mitch's food. And Nish has decided he wants to start expanding the businesses, wants to rebuild the Panasar family empire. But yeah, this means that he's going to be muscling in on Phil and the Mitchells' turf, And not many people have managed to do that successfully. So
will they own the pub? Is my question.
nah, I don't think so. I think from what I've seen from the February 20th trailer, Sharon's buying. I think what's happening is Sharon is gonna buy Janine's shares because Janine's gonna technically own Mick's half. So I think it's then gonna be Sharon, Linda, probably Alfie, Patrick, all running the pub.
Alright.
Then obviously if Sharon's there, Zach can be there, and maybe even Keanu.
Yeah. Keanu.
Oh, we do have. Yeah, there is some Keanu news to get into later, though. Let me just make a note. But yeah, it's Also, I thought he was back, but he wasn't back this week. He's back next week. How am I supposed to cope without him?
Well, but isn't he already back on the? Oh, right. You mean when he's back on screen?
Yeah, back on screen.
All right.
Yeah, and at school, Lola's talking to the head teacher about the incident, and Lola's like, "Oh, so you reckon I can't develop my own child? Can you? Oh, you think I can't look after my own kid?" But I don't think it was justified to yell at the teacher. But then the teacher goes, "Listen, all right, I know you're posting all this stuff online, about your recovery or about your illness, but maybe you're getting some of the wrong attention." And I'm like, hold on. This teacher's going, yeah, this is great, but what if you get a stalker? It's like, she's bloody ill with cancer. Let her deal with something else here. Who's letting you be the bloody stalker police? Calm it down, head teacher. Things you don't say to someone who's got cancer. Maybe you've got a stalker. All right.
Maybe you're going to live another week. That's something you don't say to them.
But yeah, I just what the hell? And back in the salon, we see Kim and Emma talking. And Kim mentions WWE/WWF. Before we get into who Kim's favourite wrestler is, let's just carry on with essentially, Kim's filling in Emma over Lola being called into the school, and she has a camel coat and blonde hair.
Oh my gosh!
Honestly, listen, right? It's using my detective skills. Turns out the child intimidator might be Emma.
It might be.
But the real question, the real detective work we need to do. Who is Kim's favorite wrestler?
I said Big E because he's big.
That sounds really reductive. He's a very big, beefy man.
Yeah.
He's a big, beefy black man. And he's very funny.
Who do you think Kim's favorite wrestler is?
Me. Well, see, I just thought, which one's a really attractive one? Which one would Kim watch and be like, oh, bloody hell?
I bet you'd be into the mid-carders or scripts. Imagine it was I think she'd be into scripts.
Into?
Scripts or Reggie.
Oh. Yes. With all the flips.
maybe Kofi Kingston.
Maybe.
If she was into AEW, she would definitely be into Anthony Ogogo.
But yeah, I just think she'd want all of the very attractive wrestlers.
So Brock Lesnar.
But yeah, who is your... sorry, not who is your... Who is Kim's favourite wrestler? Leave it in the comments.
Steve Blackman.
That's everybody's favourite wrestler, Piggy.
Only we can have him, though.
You can't take him from us.
No.
Yeah, Karen and Mitch essentially being like, yo, Jed's new group chat is sick. We're all selling stuff. Yeah, and this makes Reese a bit nervous. Nish is seeking advice from Vinny about what he knows about the Mitchells. Vinny says, hey, I want to set up my own phone shop, and then Nish essentially goes, yeah, but what do you know about the Mitchells? How about that? Oh yeah, Dad, I want to do this. So what I want to do? Just completely doesn't care. And Suki and Eve talk, and it kind of leads Suki to realize that Nish is trying to kind of take control, despite being the one. Like, he didn't build anything. Like, it's all been Suki for the last 20 years, building up this big empire. But it seems like Nish is going to muscle in and be like, ah, yes, it's all mine. And I think he's probably going to run it into the ground, I'll be honest.
Definitely, if Phil Mitchell was around, I can't see, especially a Panashaw kill. Like, if anyone's going to kill off Phil Mitchell, it's going to be either someone very old or someone new. I can't see it being a Panashaw.
No.
Like,
I mean, Phil Mitchell's
my
not
theory
dying
is,
for years, but yeah.
Yeah, my theory is the only person that can kill him is Grant. Like, that's my theory.
Honestly, I think Phil will have like a big long death, you know. Like I think he'll have like a long-term illness type deal. Because I can't see them doing it, or he does this like big stunt
and dies.
Yeah, or like he does something like Phil Mitchell-y, like he saves like Ben or saves like a grandkid or something. But honestly, this isn't happening for like another till Steve McFadden retires, you know. Like, I don't see Phil leaving the show for years. Personally,
I do wonder how this Panashaw rivalry is going to turn out, because I feel like the next step is Eve getting together with Suki.
Yeah. No, me too. I mean, obviously, I suppose we'll get into it a little bit more later on, because more stuff obviously happens and is like the building blocks for what's probably going to happen. What, next week? No, 2 weeks time.
2 weeks. Let me just
for
check
the
my calendar.
38th anniversary type deal.
Yeah, 9 days on the recording of this. 9 days time, or if this is going out on the Sunday, 8 days time.
Covering all bases.
If this is going on the Monday, it's a week's time. And so forth.
Going out on the Tuesday. No.
It'll be 6 days time. Going out on Wednesday, it'll be 5.
But yeah, essentially, Suki just goes, listen, right? Who built this empire? And it wasn't
I
Nish.
am the king.
It was me.
I am the bloody king.
This empire.
You will nothing, bitch.
This empire was built by the best bloody businessman I know. Me.
Acknowledge me. I am the head of the table.
With this, Lola and Emma are talking about the lunatic that walked in and threatened the kid. They say it might be an online stalker, but Emma kind of goes, what if they were only trying to help? She gets a bit nervous when Billy walks on in and kind of hides away a bit, but seemingly nobody notices. Sonia gets back from work and walks on in Jed, who's naked, making a sandwich. Does that sandwich include extra pickle?
Extra gherkins.
Big old slab of salami. A big meat sandwich.
With all the meat.
And the mayo.
But the mayo's homemade.
Yes. God damn it. Suki bursts into the Vic and starts yelling at Nish, who's like, I want to branch out and expand the business. But Suki just yells at him like, listen, alright, this is all my work here. And you can't even ask me. We're supposed to be equals. But, you know, kind of, Nish just kind of goes like, oh, well, you know, we're partners. We built it together. And it's like, yeah, you didn't, did you, dickhead?
I really want her to.
Yeah.
I really want her to say I'm the head of the table and you can acknowledge me. I would laugh.
Well, EastEnders isn't tailor-made for you, Piggy, unfortunately.
Damn it. But you have to admit, it would be funny.
It would be funny. But speaking of funny, Reese walks into Sonia's house, but catches a look at Reese's cucumber. And starts freaking out like, am I interrupting something?
No, you said it wrong. Reese catches Jed's cucumber.
Oh yeah, I wrote Reese twice. Yeah, sorry. Reese walks in and catches a look at Jed's cucumber. It's not like Reese was just exploring. Just, oh!
I found a cucumber!
Did I do that? Yeah, I was essentially...
No,
I was looking at this. And I was kind of going like... It looks bad. And I don't know how you'd explain it away. Like, no, it wasn't that. I just walked in and he was making a sandwich, starkers. Like, how do you explain that away?
He was bollock naked when I walked in.
I didn't take his clothes off.
He took his own off.
That's just the effect I have on men. Lola asks Emma how... Oh, sorry. Lola asks Emma how, you know, she got on with her daughter. And she says, you know, I'm proud of my daughter. I'm amazed at how she's developing. But she does use the line, tough times. And that makes Emma go, wait, hold on. You were the one who put the money through my door. Why would you do that? It's like, starts freaking out. Like, why would you do that? Who are you? Are you stalking me? But before that happens, we see Whitney and Zach, who are talking after the appointment. And Whitney gets really mad at Zach and just overwhelmed. And says, you know, we could have an operation, but she's really not a fan of it. And she then kind of yells at Zach saying, you're only a dad when you want to be.
Oh, no.
Good, I wasn't expecting that noise. Emma is cornered by Billy, though. Or no.
Oh.
Yeah, Emma's cornered by Billy and Jay as Lola goes after her. Everybody knows who Emma is except for Lola. And she finally realizes that Emma is her mum. We open up Tuesday's episode with the aftermath of Emma's reveal. This overwhelms Lola as she just kind of fully processes everything and just kind of is like, yeah, but you abandoned me though. And Reese thinks that Sonia's sleeping with Jed, and then Jed walks in with his Boris Johnson covered by a lamp. He's not.
Yeah, I wonder when they were actually filming. Was he naked or did
he had like
did he have jocks on?
He had a little, yeah, had a little strap on. Hold on.
Hold on.
He had his dignity covered. Yeah, Reese storms off, and yeah, I wrote, this is some funny comic relief, but if I was Sonia and I went, oi, put some clothes on, Jed, and you just continue to walk around with his knob out, I'd be fuming. Like, you've made my house guest leave? Put some clothes on, you knobhead. I'd be fuming.
I would too.
Zach joins Finley, Felix, and Chelsea in their late supper. But Whitney's too busy just staring at the baby photo like, please be okay, please be okay, please be okay. I'm worried. And she's just distracting herself from the truth. Nish, however, declares his intentions of buying up some chicken shops to expand the empire. But Suki is just like, yeah, but why would we do that, though? Why would we work with Phil? But, in true Nish character, he's a bit much of a narcissist and doesn't like being told no. So he just goes, yeah, well. You want to guess what he's gonna try go for? The bloody chicken shops.
I thought he'd go after the arches.
Well, he realised that he tried to, but Ben wasn't selling.
Oh, I forgot Ben owns it, doesn't he?
Yes. And Lola gets a checkup by the doctor, and she has high blood pressure, which doesn't help her. She is just furious. she's had enough of all this secrecy and nonsense. Reese and Sonia meet up in the pub and tells him that there's nothing between me and him and his Willy Wonka. Or as Reese put it, a big Walford shisha smoking, leftover vegetable swapping flasher.
He just has the best lines, doesn't he?
He's really well written. It's like when I'm not sure if you remember this at all, but back when Jean, I think Jean had a breast cancer, and she met bollocks, I don't remember his name in Daniel. She met Daniel, who was played by a comedian like Aid Edmondson, a fairly old timey actor. But he was written very well because you know what he did? He probably just went, listen, all right, I can write the comedy, all right. I'm a comedian by trade. I can do the lines. You just allow me to riff with it. And yeah, they've given Reese these really good funny lines, which I'm happy with.
I hope he doesn't get killed off or he has to leave.
I hope that I genuinely, I hope that he's there with Sonia for, I hope they become an old married couple one day. I hope.
Me too.
And honestly, that line might be my line of the week. I don't know if I've already gotten one so far, but that might genuinely be the line of the week.
It might be as well for me.
Yeah, Sonia realizes that, maybe Jed and his Winkle have to go. But, they still stop by, they get a drink. All fun. Emma knocks on the door and essentially said, we can't leave things as they were, and Lola lets her in and hears her out, so it's obviously not all that bad. Sam and Zach talk, and they mention the pills and how, Zach will get used to it. But he now explains that he's the one who's not hiding from the truth, and how do you get someone who's hiding from the truth to finally acknowledge it if you don't have time? If something urgent needs to happen, how do you get someone to admit that?
I don't know. How do you?
I don't know either, mate. Nish bangs on Phil's door and he comes in. But before this happens, Emma tries to talk to Lola, and she wants to make sure that she knows how much she actually means to her. She tells her that she shouldn't have run, and Lola says, she's been running from me her whole life, and Emma reveals that she never actually walked out, but also that she needs a drink to really kind of get to grips and tell her exactly what happened. So she does leave to go grab a bottle of wine, but she does come back. And Nish and Phil's meeting doesn't go well as Phil is not interested. Nish tries to muscle in and play it a bit dirty by mentioning oh, how about all your exes, Phil? How about that? But obviously this doesn't work because, it's Phil Mitchell. This isn't Babby's first bloody deal, Well, yeah, Phil, what about all your exes, huh? And Phil's just yeah, and? What do you want from me? But yeah, I believe that Nish backs himself a bit too heavily and believes that he's owed things, which does not work out when he's trying to, work with people who actually have things. Phil, what does Phil need to do to prove himself? Doesn't need to do anything. But Nish needs like a bunch of self-gratification to be like, yeah, I'm important, I swear. Little knobhead. I like his character, but he's also not. He's not supposed to be very likable either. And we then get the scene where Emma actually explains like how she was forced out. She explains that Emma's dad, he was a good dad, but he'd drink and then he'd hit her and then he'd cry and apologize, and then they would move forward. But she then explains that she was in an abusive relationship, and that on Lola's third birthday he threw a boiling kettle over her. Which at this time Lola does not believe at all. She thinks that you're just trying to badmouth my dad because he's dead. And it's a pretty rough scene. Like man alive, it's yeah, I mean obviously we'll get into it a bit more in a second. Finley and Felix bring in Chinese food, and the takeaway worker wants to suck on Felix's noodles. Tremendous. Things you love to see. Why don't you show it, EastEnders? What you're scared of? Ofcom. And Zach breaks down in front of Sharon, essentially talking about the baby, kind of going like, "Yeah, big Christ, like it's all bad. It's all. How am I supposed to get her to help?" And Sharon essentially says, "Listen, all right. No matter what, you'll love the baby regardless. That's what a parent does." And Nish walks in, and I think he punches a wall, as Suki essentially goes, so your deal with Phil Mitchell didn't work out, did it, huh? Well, maybe that's why we don't work with the Mitchells. But, because once again Nish is a bit of an ego, he decides to get Vinny involved instead. Back to Lola and Emma, as Lola's like, there's no way that he would abuse her, and does not believe her. But the second that Emma raises her voice, and then actually just lifts up her shirt and shows the burns, this properly like rattles Lola and hits her hard. Sharon tells Zach to be there for Whitney. As we just mentioned, you'll be there, just make sure to do it. And Emma tells Lola that she did try to look for her. Like, she was in the hospital for 3 months, and she didn't even tell anyone there. And she kind of explains how awful it was, like, trying to find her, but not actually knowing. And she wasn't even sure if she could manage after all that. And yeah, Lola's just left heartbroken, really. Felix, Whitney, and Finley are watching a film, and Zach walks in with ice cream. He essentially tells her exactly what Sharon told him to do, saying, "Listen, alright, we will work. We'll make it work. We will love this baby no matter what." And then, because Emma had left, Billy essentially explains to Lola that, listen, alright? Because Billy didn't ever know Lola's dad, like, till he was gone. And he essentially goes, "Listen, alright, the Mitchell men and violence, they go hand in hand." And then he actually talks about how, back in the day, when Billy was first introduced, but he wasn't the nice Billy. He was a terrible person. Like, he did just abuse his is it his cousin? He did just abuse Jamie Mitchell. Like, he would hit him. And just essentially saying like, "Listen, all right, the Mitchells have a fierce temper. Like, could easily be genetic." Because, a lot of people see Billy now. They don't realise that when he was first introduced, he was an absolute knob. And yeah, Lola can't really handle this and runs out the door, looking for Emma. I said almost in a way like Danielle and Ronnie, but nobody dies yet, fortunately. We're safe. But yeah, Emma and Lola agree, listen, alright, we want to make this work. And they share a big hug. And she essentially goes, listen, alright, I know you're not a monster. You are my mum, and I want to be there for you. And they share a well-needed hug as the episode ends. February 9th, as we open up and Nish is drinking and he asks Vinny if it's done. And yeah, Vinny has come in looking really shifty and Nish has set him up to do something. But we then see Phil in a dressing gown at about 5 a.m. figuring out, oh, someone's been meddling. Nish has been meddling in my affairs. Lola and Jay talk about Emma as she wants to take Lola out for lunch. And Chelsea is looking after Jordan, and Whitney's like, where's this baby scan picture? And kind of has a bit of a breakdown over it. She's like, where is it? All right, I need this. I really need this. Phil storms in as he knows that Nish got someone to break the windows down in the chicken shops. And Suki essentially yells at him like, I've spent so long building up the name, but now like he's ruining it. This is all screaming at Nish. And she even says, listen, alright, are you involved, Vinny? And Vinny's like, no. Wasn't convincing, mate. Maybe work on lying. And we then get the more social issue time as Chelsea and Whitney are talking out omophallocele and whether they should allow the operation to happen. Whitney essentially goes, like, would you get the test, Chelsea? But this also leads her to saying, like, it could be genetic. And essentially, they end up bringing up Edward syndrome, which we've already established is what they're going to have to deal with. Potentially. Nah, but I've spoiled it anyways. Yeah, the kid's going to have Edward syndrome. I've already mentioned it. And, yeah, so... And basically, what they said is like, yeah, it's better to know than to not know, right? And Jed is meditating, and Sonia tries to tell him that he's been evicted, but Karen walks in with a few cans, just kind of ruining her plans to go, listen, alright, Jed, piss off. Emma arrives for lunch, but she finds out that Jay's also going for lunch. Obviously, Emma would probably rather spend time with her daughter alone after she's not been able to for the last God knows how long, rather than with Jay. But, she does it anyway. She's not... You can't exactly go, well, no, I actually want some time with my daughter alone, please. That's not the way to do it, is it? And Zach talks to Whitney, essentially goes, listen, right, you're not a failure. All right? I get that you feel like all of these issues with the baby are your fault, but you are strong, and it would help if we knew what we were dealing with. Nish finds out that the shop has been vandalized and wrecked, and realizes that this could be a declaration of family war. Eve walks in and cracks a joke, but Suki walks out upset. We then immediately cut to Phil, who is eating some free bread from the shop. Nice. Trying to figure out
Phil?
I'm trying to figure out if there's no way Phil actually battered it himself. He probably got someone to do it for him, right?
He probably did.
Yeah, it's not really Phil's style to get super involved anymore.
You never know.
Yeah, true. Jed and Karen talk about environmental issues, being off the grid, and Sonia's just like, oh, God damn it. I've had enough. And yeah, Zach kind of gets Whitney ready. They go to the hospital and get some full clarity, And then we see a really fun scene where Lola, Emma, and Jay bond. And we learn that Emma named a dog Colin. they have a proper like nice conversation where they're all just getting to know each other and bonding, like, and just trying to make up for lost time. Like, it was just a nice scene to have. It's nice to see everything all out on the table, no one making up any lies or excuses. Otherwise, Chelsea finds a baby picture which Jordan was cuddling for some reason. Like, he just nabbed it. Must have fallen on the floor. Suki sensed that something was wrong, investigates a washing basket, and finds a coat with a glass cut and a whole lot of mini glass shards all over it. She knows that something's fishy. Listener, I don't know how much Suki like says, "Oi, I'll do all the washing and stuff." But if you break into something, why are you putting it in the bloody wash like anything else? Do your own washing, man.
Exactly.
Why would you leave your, like, the thing you use to commit a crime in just in the washing basket? Bloody idiot. And he's supposed to take over the Panesar Empire at some point. He's useless. Like, I still think it's ridiculous that he's like the only one left who's actually got to be a part of it. If it was Kirat, I could see a Mitchell war like going well. But because it's just for Vinny, they're screwed. They aren't winning for nothing. Sonia and Reese talk to each other, and Reese offers, like, "Hey, I could speak to Jed." And Sonia denies it, but I was like, "Come on, please. Please allow us, like, the honor for this to happen, please." And Emma and Reese talk to each other. And Reese... Oh, I already said that. Emma and Lola talk, and we find out that Emma wants to be there for Lola and Lexi. Emma realizes she may be pushing to get to know everyone, but also knows that they may not have as much time as they'd actually want, you know. Suki confronts Nish and Vinny over lying to her straight up, but he just emotionally manipulates her into, like, yeah, we work the best as a team, you know, and as a family. But are you with me or are you against me? And Eve hears this all, like, outside the door, just kind of sitting on, like, I really don't like this. Emma and Lola talk, and Lola wants to give the money back. Emma doesn't want the money back. They agree to meet tomorrow, and Lola just kind of keeps the money. Just like, all right, fine. Chelsea welcomes Whitney and Zach back home as she's a gift. It's the first baby scan in a cute little frame, and Zach's gonna cook as well. Then Sonia gets back as she sees a note, and she's angry because the note's from Jed, and it says, "Sorry, Sonia, off to go guard a tree. Bye. Be back tomorrow at 3. Who guards a tree?
I don't know.
I mean, it's obviously a protest, but for Christ's sake. We then see Billy threatening Emma, since she's saying, "Listen, alright, you know, you can try to do it now, but that doesn't take away the fact that you abandoned her for years." Then Emma's like, "Oi, I've only just found her. No one's stopping this." And my next went, Billy, what are you doing trying to threaten anyone? You need slapping down. Just like, come on. Take yourself seriously for a second, Billy. Who are you scaring?
What'd you say, sorry?
Just Billy needs slapping down after this.
Oh, does he?
Wow.
He needs slapping down.
Who's he trying to intimidate? It's Billy Mitchell.
Well, he was a hard man when he was first introduced, wasn't he?
Well, he tried to be, but he was still a knobhead. He was a hard man in the sense that he battered his, like, cousin. You know, like he battered someone younger than him. Like, it's not. He's never been a hard man. He's just when he was introduced, he was a bit of a knobhead and abused Jamie. Nish enters the Mitchells again and invites them to dinner tomorrow. He says he hopes that they see sense, and Phil essentially goes, "I know a good glazer if you need one." Love the back chat from Phil. And our final scene of the episode sees Eve try to comfort Sookie over Nish's treatment of her. Eve tells her that, your fire and independence has completely vanished since Nish is back. But Sookie coldly tells Eve, "You mean nothing to me." And Eve says, "Message received." And she walks away, but the second Eve can't see her anymore, Sookie just burst into tears. Doof, 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 doof. Episode 3 of the week.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Oh no. Oh well, my timings are all off then, because I have messed up somewhere. Oh well, that's fine. Let's just get rid of that. We open up the final episode of the week as Nish and Eve are looking at potential business opportunities. Sookie says, I should hear about all business decisions, which Nish just kind of goes, yeah, but then goes, hey, I need you to do something really, really important. I need you to cook later on when we're having dinner with the Mitchells. And Nish then hands Eve a contract saying, I need Sookie to sign by the end of the day. But he's also made it Eve's job. He says it's for the Minute Mark, insurance claim, but yeah, it's not. There's something a bit fishier going on. Lola and Emma talk at the cafe and they reminisce over old days. Emma's brought over a bunch of old photos, and she's like, "It's a shame I can't join you at Disneyland." But they get distracted and Billy waltzes in, essentially being like, "Hey, you're late for Lexi's presentation, hurry up." And Emma offers to drive them, but Billy just kind of muscles in "No, you've done enough." And I was trying to figure out whether there will be a conversation where Emma and Billy actually talk, and Billy's like, "Listen, I raised her, I was there for her." But Emma's like, "Yeah, I know, and I'm thankful for that, but I'm back now. You're not going to be pushed out. She's still your granddaughter. Just feel like that's going to happen at some point, so that Emma's not ditched. Plus, it's really not the time to have issues. She's dying soon. Sort it out. That's just my take, really, but yeah. Sonia wonders how she's going to get through today. She had about an hour's sleep, and her and Reese talk about Jed and how frustrating he's been. And Reese says, "You know what? I'm going to go talk to Jed. He's not going to expect me to do it, so I'm going to do it." Kat makes Phil get prepared for the lunch at the Panasars, as she thinks it's better to hear them out and work together rather than fighting. And she says, "Listen, I'm going, you better come too." Kim and Howie discuss how February is the worst month, and yeah, I agree. February sucks. Hate February. Stacy and Eve chat about Sookie, and that bills have gone up so much. Eve's kind of struggling, knowing what the contract's about, but Stacy essentially goes, "Listen, alright, family first." And Lexi nailed the presentation, even if they all arrived late. Billy essentially says, maybe you're spending too much time with Emma and not enough time doing everything else. You're spreading yourself out a bit thin. But obviously this is Billy being jealous, so shove off, Billy, you knobhead. Eve wants to discuss the contract and tell Nish what, she wants to go to Sookie and tell Nish, what he's been saying. But Sookie essentially goes, "Listen, alright, no, leave, stop it." And this leads to Eve not actually telling her what the contract is about. So, like, she just goes, oh, yeah, it's just some insurance thing. And Suki just signs it without actually thinking about it. Like, so Suki's about to get absolutely screwed out of something. Kat feels disappointed as Phil isn't turning up to the meal, but just in time he appears and he's like, oh, you thought I was going to let you deal that by yourself? Don't worry. And yeah, Eve proceeds to post a letter as one of the best scenes of the week as Reese comes to confront Jed. I don't know if it was just me, but the way they shot this was super weird. They used like a wide angle, but also it looked like it was a handheld camera because it was just really shaky. So I'm just like, did they shoot it to make it look like they were high? Because like, I don't know, something about the camera work in this scene threw me off completely. And Reese went, listen, alright, Jed, you're evicted. But Karen and Jed are like, we're not going anywhere unless Sonia says it herself. But Reese reveals that Jed's real name is Edward Chadwick. And he is the son of a, like, biscuit, like, producer company, like empire. And is set to inherit it all. And yeah, it's funny to see that Jed has been sponging off everyone despite being a biscuit Tory. And yeah, Reese feels pretty good about himself and just kind of basks in his glory, like, yeah, I did it. I got him to leave. Look at me go. Because I'll be honest, I doubt Reese wins many arguments.
I don't think he does now.
And Linda and Sharon are kind of discussing Valentine's and making some plans, but not much comes from it, so. Emma has ordered a drink for Lola and has so many plans, but Lola kind of goes, maybe I won't actually be able to see you much after the honeymoon. And Emma just goes, listen, alright, these last couple of days have been the best days of my life. And gives her some letters, I think. I think it's some letters. It's not too clear. Could be letters or money, but I think it's letters that she would have written to her as a kid, but she never got. But Emma essentially goes, listen, alright, I'm just at the end of the phone. Like, please don't, like, shut me out type deal. And we then get dinners at the Panasars, and we get some alpha male posturing, you know. They're just kind of like, oh, Phil, I didn't think you would be much of a non-drinker. Like, and, you know, inside turns out you were like a big cook, you know. Or a big stew kind of man. But then Phil essentially goes, yeah, well, inside you were no one, so what do you want? And Phil says, listen, right, let's get to business. I don't want to wait around. And Nish tries to muscle in and essentially goes, hey, Phil, listen, right, if you don't agree to sell these chicken shops, well, it feels like you're just going to have to keep getting these windows replaced. And Phil is like, listen, right, I'll sell the chicken shops, but for double. And Suki thinks this is a terrible idea, but Nish goes, yep, deal. Fine by me. Emma then yells at Billy, asking if he got what he wanted. And Sonia asks about her. And Sonia pretty much reminds Billy that, listen, right, why are you trying to oust Emma from Lola's life? She's only been back for about 5 minutes. You know, you've had her for your whole life. Just think of everything she could miss out on. And Suki is then told that the contract she signed earlier weren't insurance papers at all. They were to transfer 50% of all the businesses into Vinny's name and to release some equity. She says we're supposed to be equals, but he says he just did what he had to for the family. Suki has been betrayed and realizes that she'd been betrayed by Eve as well. A funny bit of this scene happens where Nish is like, yeah, I had him over a barrel. Absolutely had him done with. But then we see Phil, who essentially goes, mate, I came out really big on this deal. Because turns out the chicken shops weren't worth anything pretty much. So Nish is now having to pay double for something that Phil didn't even really value And he didn't want the chicken shops now. And now he can move to a quieter location that no one actually worries about. Because the whole idea with the chicken shops is they're just there to launder dirty money. Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Karen and Eve chat about how they can both be so easily swayed. She brings up Chantel and essentially makes Eve go, wait, hold on. If I don't actually help Sookie get away, like, this could really turn into a very dark, like, abusive dynamic between them. So, you know. And Sonia enters the house and reveals, like, and is told by Reese, like, hey, I got Jed to move out. And Sonia goes, move in with me. And Jed's like, not Jed. And Reese is like, I would love to accept your offer. So yeah, Reese and Sonia are now moving in together. And they're now official. Hey,
good on you, Reese. Good on you.
we've done it. Finally, after about, 12 days of Jed existing, Reese and Sonia are now back together. Emma is back at Lola's and she gives Lexi a pendant with like her and Lola as she was a baby. And Lexi asks if Lola's happy that Emma's here, and Emma asks for a little hug, but reveals that in this pendant there was actually a small little locket, and like in this locket was like a there was a small little message in this locket. There we are. But Lola does kind of rush Emma out though. She's really kind of taken like, maybe I shouldn't be too distracted now. And Sookie tells Eve that like this was my way out. Now I really don't have anything anymore. And Sookie's just furious and says, I don't want you near me ever again. And what's inside the little locket that Lexi was given? It's Emma's phone number, but says, hey, it's our little secret, you know. So they're obviously gonna stay in contact and be filled on how Lola's doing. And Nish says he shouldn't have done what he did, but says he felt awful when he came back because he had no say in anything. He says he wants to start fresh by renewing their marriage, and he says he'll understand if she walks away, but he can't guarantee how forgiving their kids will be, you know, walking away from their family. He says it's up to her, but it feels like she has absolutely zero choice. And Sookie just looks out and watches on at Eve, who's sat alone in the square. Alright, that was episode 6 of Watching Walford, but before we end, we have 2 segments to do now. We have the Talk of the Square, the spoiler section, so obviously cover your ears if you're not involved. Essentially, what we've learned this week is that potentially there's going to be a new romance on the square.
Between?
Have a guess.
Keanu.
Oh, it is Keanu, but who's he going to get with?
Not Sam. Sharon.
No, it's no one he's been with before.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
He's going to get, apparently there's some suggestions that he's going to get with Chelsea.
Oh.
Which, hey, I'll take it. They're both similar age. Like, you know, better than Keanu and Sharon. And I've actually come, you know, I'll say that in the awards segment, but, you know, I've come to actually enjoy Chelsea a lot more in this current storyline. But she's actually been she's been a good friend to Whitney, so, you know, fair enough. And I suppose the final, not the final thoughts, it's time to get to the awards show, the awards aspect every week where we have some awards to give out. Obviously, the Steve Blackman Award. Piggy, would you like to explain the Steve Blackman Award?
Steve Blackman was a wrestler in the Attitude Era and the Invasion Era. And basically, he was a wrestler who had no charisma, but everyone loved. So Basically, every week we go through an EastEnders character that everyone loves but has no charisma, and we give them an award. Now they have to appear on screen at least once this week.
That is true. Although I think there's also a big aspect is that they are kind of bland though. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure, they are there, but we're mostly doing it because they are just being a nuisance, really. But maybe it can be their love despite doing nothing. Next, we have the Underrated Character Award, which I feel like is pretty self-explanatory. And the new one, the fresh one,
oh,
the brand new award. It's the Slapping Down Award.
oh,
We decide which character of the week has been too big for their boots, too loud, too obnoxious. We need to figure out who needs slapping down. So we'll save the best till last, but let's kick it off with Piggy. Who is your Steve Blackman Award winner of the week?
who was it last week? So I know I can't take it.
I think yours was probably Jack. I could look it up, but I would
Uh,
hold on. Give me a second. You keep talking and thinking. I'll piece together.
I'm thinking here, lads. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking of someone.
I mean, I suppose my Steve Blackman is gonna be just very bland, very nothing, very boring. This week, God, yeah, I really have to think about this one because most of the
Yeah,
characters have been pretty decent this week. I'm gonna say Nish for mine
I would have to agree with you. I think mine would be Nish.
because he's trying so hard to be like a big cool big bad, but like he's just a bit of a nuisance right now. So he's not helping anyone. He's just being a knob. So that's So I guess the Steve Blackman is Nish. I mean, I could easily go for Vinny as well because Vinny is just useless. Actually, I'm gonna go for Vinny. You can keep Nish. I'm gonna go for Vinny, who's just he's garbage. The underrated character of the week.
Even though you might disagree, it has to be Jag.
All right. No, I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I mean, he did his job well. He was there to be annoying between Sonya and Race. So, you know what? I'll take it. I don't mind. I guess I just led in by an earlier. It's probably gonna be Chelsea for me. It's the first time in a long time where I've actually went, okay, her character makes sense. She's no longer having to hang around with Denise all the time. She's no longer having to be a fox. She's just trying to like raise her kid with her little like family type deal. So, and she's been really good for Whitney this week. Chelsea gets the underrated character award. But finally, the slapping down award. Who gets it? Who needs it?
Nish.
He needs slapping down, does he?
He does need slapping down.
Well, I'm gonna kind of go vaguely similar. Billy needs slapping down this week for me. Like, just stop. Just let Lola get on with her mum. Stop getting involved because you feel inadequate. Yeah, that's all the wonderful awards. Nish got 2 awards this week.
Who better than Nish?
Yeah, I suppose it's the idea that it's not like the acting's terrible. It's just in character they are just being knobheads. So like that's how we rank it. It's not like a well and the worst actor on the show. These are all like in universe. Because I don't care about acting. It's EastEnders, man.
I do. I care about the acting.
If the storyline comes across, I don't care who does it. But regardless, and I suppose in terms of week for EastEnders, I think it was a very fun week.
To me, it was a very fun week. I know I couldn't see yesterday's or Friday's episode when this comes out, but what's probably going to happen is they're probably going to show up Monday, and I'm going to probably take notes, and then you're going to be confused.
But yeah. Otherwise, that has been watching Walford. I suppose one thing I just wanna at least commit to memory is the fact that the last week's episode got over 100 views.
Oh,
But
we only
pretty
still have
fun.
6 subscribers, so subscribe, you bastards.
Yes, we got over 100 views on that one. I got to admit, I think it is just because it was Lola's mum in the thumbnail, and the name is She Intimidated a Child. So clickbait wins today. But no, it was a lot of fun. It's nice to see. It's nice to see some things happen. Didn't expect. I said I didn't expect a little lowly EastEnders podcast. I was expecting like 5 people.
Yeah, it amazes me the views we get. I understand I complain that we only have 6 subscribers, but I'm only messing.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hope this becomes a little group where we all eventually grow, and then at some point in 2026, I'm just going to say 2026. If we're still doing this in 2026, when you're 26 years old and I'm 23,
yeah.
I hope we get recognised by the BBC and we can appear on EastEnders. That's what I'm hoping. That's the end goal, that we appear on EastEnders.
But yeah, ultimately, I suppose just thank you all for stopping by.
And tune into Easily Entertained, where me and Ash will be reviewing the Titanic.
That's not happening.
That is happening.
But yeah, there's episode 6. Make sure to join us for episode 7. The Wednesday video this week, it will either be a January in review or our favorite EastEnders catchphrases. I'll be honest, the favorite EastEnders catchphrase was recorded was several weeks ago, but it's just something else keeps happening that needs to go out first. So yeah, thank you for watching Walford episode 6. Join us next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.